Greetings, friends of the Mankind Project. My name is Haydn, Reiss, and I'm doing a film, Robert Bly, News of the Universe. This is the first film to highlight the many chapters of Robert's long and prolific life. I'm going to make special emphasis on the men's work and Iron John, because I think this important period of Robert's work is not as well understood as it could be. I think there's been some confusion around it. Recently I was at a wedding and I was speaking to a woman, an older woman who was a therapist back in New York. We were having a great conversation and I mentioned I was doing a film on Robert Bly. And she paused and said, well, isn't he a bit of a chauvinist? And I said, have you read Iron John? And she said, no, but I read a magazine article back then. And I said, you know, they gave you the wrong impression of what that work was about. So that's one thing I'd like to address in this film. I recently interviewed John Densmore, the drummer of The Doors, who was involved with the early work with Robert and men. And I said, John, how is it that for some people when they hear the men's work, they snicker and they say, oh, those men drumming in the woods and laugh. And John did a beautiful defense of the drum. And he said, you know, if you put 50 men in a room and you gave them violins, they couldn't make music. But if you give them a drum, because the drum is connected to the heartbeat and the drum is connected to our breath, we're able to come into oneness with each other. And it was a beautiful riff on the beauty of the drum and the importance of the drum. So that's another thing I want to add into the film, an honoring of the drum. So this film is really about this great elder and teacher, Robert Bly, who has given many of us so much support in the soul work and the heart work we're all trying to do. So I welcome you to please look at the link and consider a donation to making the film completed. You could think of it as a birthday present to Robert, who will be turning 86 this December. Thank you so much.